horses, like on a very concrete level, they're large, right? So when we utilize them with EAGALA, really what we're using is a large moving canvas where people can paint their ideas and their experiences on that's separate from themselves. So part of it is externalizing their experience, so they don't have to talk about I or me or that their loved one. They can put that out on another being.
Horse therapy just offers the kids a chance to be out in nature, be with an animal that allows them to touch, allows them to feel the warmth of another living thing. It offers metaphor so that kids aren't necessarily being labeled by somebody or somebody's kind of putting a story of their life together for them. They're able to kind of have an opportunity to create that themselves, have a voice for themselves. And really, it's another form for them to kind of reflect on what's going on without it just being talk therapy where you're sitting in an office looking at one another. They get to actually be active and experience something.
Horses have fairly complex and interesting social lives and social interactions. They really rely on body language amongst themselves as a herd, but that also transfers over to people. And so they're going to be interacting with people in a very similar way that they would interact to one another. It's just such a sort of a rich language that I think people really resonate with. So that makes sense to them, and it helps them sort of explore what they're thinking and feeling.
Horses really play off of humans' emotions, so they often reflect exactly what's going on in the arena with a person or with a group. We always have two facilitators, so there's always an equine specialist and a mental health specialist.
When I'm partnering with Shannon, my role is to really be that horse specialist. So I keep a close eye on horse behavior, both keeping in mind safety issues, but also using what I think might happen in terms of a horse's response to maybe help guide activities or the direction the session might take.
Sometimes as facilitators we'll plan an activity. Sometimes we'll keep it real general. Sometimes we'll have it very specific depending on if we want to kind of create a metaphor for them or if we want it to be very open where they just interpret it the way they want to interpret it. So it really does vary, but often there will be some sort of activity that they participate in with the horses.
One client that we're working on with individual therapy brought to us a problem that he had, and we simply asked him to explore the problem with the horses. And he started building things, and he started putting labels on the horses about what they meant to him and how they represented different parts of his problem. And we talked through the entire session about what the horses were doing it, why they were doing it, sort of narrating the session and putting metaphor and meaning on in a very, very purposeful way. So we may have a session that looks like that, or we may have a session that's almost completely silent, where Shannon and I are sort of take a step back, and we have maybe a group of girls just connecting with horses through grooming and petting and talking. So it can really look a lot of different ways. staff will lean over to me and tell me that within 5 minutes, their entire personality and all of their issues sort of fall out in the horse therapy session. So I think I learned everything that's important in that moment, which is how they're choosing to go about their relationship with the horse. And that's what I love about EAGALA, because I don't really need to know the background of the kids that come to these sessions. All I need to know is how I exist with them in that moment, and really work off that. And that's really the heart of EAGALA, because I can be with them as they're presenting in that moment, and I have to work really hard to not guess about what they're really thinking, or to think about if they have some ulterior motives, or thinking about their case history. I just get to be with that kid in the moment, which is kind of a gift.
The biggest misconception is that the horses are in there somehow interpreting what's going on with kids, when really it's just a horse is mirroring, inner emotions, or just kind of the energy that's around them. What they're learning here at Northwest Passage relates to all aspects of their life. So it's utilizing the horses, partnering almost as providers to the kids, where the kids can kind of put their own labels on it and kind of utilize their own experience to put meaning onto their own story.